Good morning. How are y'all doing? Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. About 16 hours ago, special agents from my office arrested the mayor of Aberdeen, Mississippi. So what we found was that the mayor of Aberdeen, Maurice Howard, was going before his board, and of course that means he was going before the voters, and he was telling them that he was going to be going on certain trips and official functions. The board was giving him advance checks. So they were paying him beforehand before going to these events. He would take those checks, put them into his personal bank account, and then not go on the trips. So he found a way, by doing that over and over again, he found a way to give himself a nice little second paycheck. He was also using his official vehicle for personal purposes, sometimes out of state. So yesterday we sought an indictment and arrested the mayor and took him in. So why do I tell you that story? I tell you that story to lead off with because last night I was talking to the agents who executed that arrest, and I can tell you sometimes people say, well, why is it that the state auditor's office needs folks who carry a badge or wear a gun? And without going into too much detail, I can tell you that sometimes they have to arrest people that don't want to be arrested, and sometimes they have to do things, put themselves in harm's way, things that you and I don't have to do, fortunately, in our day jobs. So I want to say thank you to those investigators for doing what they do every single day. The other reason I raised this is to play out this little thought experiment with you. Imagine that there's some business somewhere, maybe they're in a state that has higher cost of living or higher cost of doing business, and they think, you know what, I want to put a distribution center somewhere in the South. So they start looking around and they look maybe at Northeast Mississippi. And they look and they say, well, you know, Northeast Mississippi's got a lot going for it. It's got good infrastructure, good roads, a couple of airports, got the Ten-Tom, got good energy, good cheap energy thanks to TVA, got good public schools, got good weather most of the year, got a lot of the fundamentals for growing a business. But maybe they take a moment and they look and they see that every single year, Mississippi is always ranking at the top of states for public corruption. There's a study that comes out every so often from the University of Illinois at Chicago that always puts us in the top 5 for public corruption. So maybe they look at that and they think, you know what, I've heard about the games you might have to play down in Mississippi in order to bring a business there. I've heard about the things you might have to say or do to get your permits or whatever it is. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to put myself in that position. You and I both know, everybody in this room knows, that we cannot afford for that sentence to be said a single time. We cannot afford for that thought to be thought if we're going to grow at our potential. So that's what motivates us in the state auditor's office every single day. Every time that we arrest somebody for embezzling your money, every time we put somebody's mugshot up, every time we use somebody as an example of what can go on here, we know that we're working to make this state achieve its potential. We know that we're working to make sure that people understand we're out there looking and we're out there holding folks accountable and that you can't steal public money and that public corruption is not going to be tolerated. Some of y'all were at Neshoba and you heard me talk about 2 individuals we arrested at Coahoma Community College. So 2 folks who had embezzled nearly $1 million from Coahoma Community College. That was money that could have been used for workforce development at Coahoma Community College. That's money that could have been used to make our labor force stronger, make our economy stronger, but we lost that money because of that embezzlement. We cannot afford for that to happen a single time. So my point really simply is this: every single day in the auditor's office we are working on that specific issue because we know that corruption hurts economic growth. That has been proven in the literature. We know that corruption hurts economic growth. Every single time, on average, the median fraud scheme in the United States costs the entity that suffers from it about $108,000. Now you think about that. Every single time this happens, the median number is $108,000. We can't afford to have those kinds of losses. And that $108,000, that doesn't take into account the times when a business says, well, I'm just not going to go there because I heard about the fraud schemes that happen in that state. So that's what we're working on. That's what we're working on every single day on your behalf. In addition to stopping corruption, we all know that that's not the only ingredient for economic growth. There's things like infrastructure, things like public education. So I wanted to announce to you today that over the course of the next 4 or 5 months, I'm going to focus my energy and my attention on those two issues specifically, on infrastructure, on public education. By the end of this year, my office is going to release what we believe will be the most comprehensive performance audit of the Mississippi Department of Transportation in the history of the Mississippi Department of Transportation. We have pulled in national experts from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They have helped departments of transportation all around the world, and they're going to write a playbook. So for anybody who's coming in, the new leadership at MDOT, if they want to do things to improve our efficiency, to make our road and bridge dollars go a little bit further, they're going to have a blueprint right on their desk day one, right when they walk in. I'm also going to focus on public education. We had some great public education news this week about our kids' NAEP scores. Teachers and parents and administrators deserve a ton of credit for doing what they did over the course of the past year. But we all know that if we spent money in the best possible place, we could have gotten even more out of those students. We could have gotten even more. So several months ago, I released a report that said that over the last 10 years, we have increasingly spent money outside the classroom. In fact, administrative spending has gone up in Mississippi over the last 10 years faster than instructional spending. Over the last 10 years, if you adjust for inflation, our spending on administrative salaries has gone up by about 10%. Our spending on teacher salaries has gone down by about 3%. Now, when you look around the world, you can look at a bunch of different school systems. The successful ones are really different. Sometimes they have big classroom sizes, sometimes they have small classroom sizes, big schools, small schools, unusual curricula, traditional curricula. But the thing that good school systems have in common around the world is that they put money where it matters the most. They put money into the teachers so that you can get the best possible people in front of the kids every single day. I know that because my mom was a public school teacher for 35 years. Her parents, both of them, were public school teachers. I went to public school from kindergarten all the way through when I graduated from a public university. I took my mom for 2 years. I was her worst student. She hated every second of it. But every time I produce a report like that, there's going to be some folks who get a little uncomfortable, and I can always tell. There's some folks who say, well, he's attacking public schools again. It's kind of hard to make that case. I used my Mississippi public school education to go win a Rhodes Scholarship and go to Harvard. So if you want to try to make the case that I hate public schools, give it a shot, I guess. That'll be your thing. You can give it a shot. I don't think it's going to work. My point is this, really. Every single day in the auditor's office, we are doing things that are hard. We are doing those hard things because hard things are the things that make a difference. So we're trying to put a stop to public corruption, and it's difficult. We try to shine a light on how money is being spent, even if it makes some folks uncomfortable. And the reason you do those things, the reason we try to do those things every day, is because we know that doing the hard things, the things that make a difference, those are the things that are going to open the door to greater economic growth. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be your state auditor and to do this for another 4 years. This is the honor of my professional life. Thank you. It's good to see you today.
I appreciate your engagement and showing up for the process and listening to the candidates here, presenting their platforms and their plans for Mississippi. It's important that you do that. It's important that you stay engaged in the process. You are the best monitors of what's going on in our communities, understanding what's happening across our state. So for you to listen to the elected officials, present their plans and what they have in store for Mississippi, and then to hold us accountable for those things is important. So I appreciate your engagement, appreciate you being here. I've been in the legislature for 3 terms now, so I've been to this event quite often. I always see good friends and good conversations. Obviously, this is where things happen, where deals are cut, where our business community comes together and makes plans on how to make Mississippi better. So I appreciate all that you do and look forward to working with you as your next Secretary of State. We're excited about this election. Obviously, a few days away. We're still on the campaign trail, swinging hard, rolling around the state from the north to the south, from the east to the west. So we're excited about that. And as you know, the Secretary of State's office is very important to the business community, to the state as a whole. A big piece of what happens there obviously impacts your businesses every day, whether you know it or not. So you've got elections, obviously is an important, and really the face of the office. Everybody understands the Secretary of State's office runs elections. Well, there's a piece in elections that I want to challenge you to get involved with. And we're going to be talking about this as we travel the state once we get elected. And so as you know, you need a good stable economy. You want stability to make sure that you can make profits and hire people and grow your businesses. That's important. Well, for stability, you need good government. You need good leadership. You need consistent leadership that's going to be steady to make sure that our state's moving in the right direction. Well, to have good leadership, to have good elected officials, you need clean, secure, and fair elections, and that's important. And I think voter ID has been a big piece of returning confidence in our elections. But there's another piece that we need to talk about. If you go to your polls of late, you see a lot of elderly folks that are working the polls. You don't see a whole lot of young people getting involved, getting engaged. And that's something I think our business community can help with. So I've met with Alan Suddeth at Chevron and a few others, and we're starting to talk through this. And the plan would be, how do we sit down with our business community to make sure that you're getting your employees engaged in the process? What are some things that you can do to encourage your younger employees, your younger workers, to go work the polls? Because we need poll workers to make sure we have clean and fair elections. That's important, and it's important to businesses. So I'm going to be sitting down with you and challenging you to play a role with that. We need your help to make sure we have good poll workers, and that starts with our younger generation, our younger leaders and businesses. So I want to talk to you about that. So we'll be bringing that up as we meet with you around the state. The other piece that the Secretary of State's office touches is obviously business services. A big piece, your LLCs, your corporations, your nonprofits, your cemeteries, your sports agents. Again, a large piece of the puzzle. And one of the pieces under that would become, we've talked about and passed in the legislature a few years ago, is the Occupational Licensing Review Commission. That's an important piece for our small businesses. It's an important piece for our entrepreneurial spirit here in Mississippi. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about making sure that we cut regulations and cut rules where we can to allow businesses to grow and to prosper and do what you do best without government interference. So we're going to work hard on that. I think that's important to point out. Another piece that we've talked about is obviously our public lands. So our tidelands along the coast, an important piece to our entire state, 16th section land and public funding for education and in forfeited properties. So I think it's important that we have a candidate who understands the office, who understands the duties, who understands the law surrounding that office. And I'm excited to offer ourselves up for Secretary of State here in Mississippi. And many of you have heard over the last few weeks, about 4 months ago actually, we launched a plan called the SIP plan. It deals with service, information, and professionalism. People say, Michael, what's that about? Well, over the last 5 to 6 years, the biggest complaint that I've heard deals with driver's licenses. And people going to get their driver's license, having to miss work, having to take their children out of school and miss school time. Matter of fact, a few weeks ago, I was up in DeSoto County, and I was in Olive Branch, and I kind of snuck in the back door and, at the DMV there, and I was talking to folks that are waiting in line. Every single one of them had the same response. And I would ask, look, how long do you have to wait? What are they telling you here? 4 to 6 hours. Every single one of them, 4 to 6 hours. And I said, well, surely you're doing something difficult. What is it that you're trying to get done? Well, we just need to renew our driver's license. Folks, that's a problem right there. That's government standing in the way of folks having an ease of use. I'm a conservative. I want limited government. But when government exists, we should offer the best service possible. So that's why we've offered this plan, the SIP plan, to move the Department of Motor Vehicles over to the Secretary of State's office. So I encourage you to go to our website, michaelwatson.ms, and read about the SIP plan. Under service, we've talked about maximizing kiosks. We've talked about making sure that the driver's license services or that need Mississippians, make sure that you have the access to services you deserve. Again, if you're going to have government in a way, let's make sure that government is serving you the best possible way possible. So we're going to make sure that we fix that. We talked to KLLM the other day, one of our big trucking companies, and said, Michael, the CDL is killing us. Every family that goes here, every truck driver that we have, a day out of work, they miss $500 a day. Again, government standing in the way of families making money to provide food, to provide security, to provide safety for their families. So we're excited about fixing that process and bringing in Mississippi businesses and asking them, look, what are the things that we can do to make this better, to make this easier, to make business better for you so you can grow and expand, so you can protect your employees and grow their families. Those are good things that we're going to do. So bringing all Mississippians to the table and making plans together is the best way forward. So we're excited about that. We've had fun traveling Mississippi. It's a beautiful state with beautiful people, and as often as I can, I've had my family on the campaign trail. I think it's important to show them the good things that are happening in Mississippi. And far too often, I think we forget all the good things because we hear this national coverage of Mississippi. Oh, it's just Mississippi. That's just what they do. But there's so many beautiful people here. There are so many good things happening, and part of what I want to do is I travel this state and I meet with schools and talk to students around and say, listen, understand the good things that are happening in Mississippi. understand the beautiful people that we have, understand the plans that we have to move forward. Mississippi is on the rise, and we need all of you to pay attention and to get involved with that to help us as we move forward. So we're excited. We've got a few days left. I'll be in Jackson, obviously, today. Tomorrow I'll be in Tupelo. We'll be in DeSoto on Saturday, Madison on Sunday, Hattiesburg and the coast on Monday, back to Jackson, back to the coast. So we're working hard. We want to earn your vote. I want to meet with as many Mississippians as possible to listen to your concerns, to listen to your plans and moving forward, and how do we implement those together and move forward as a team. So again, thank you for your engagement. Thank you for being here. Look forward to serving you as your next Secretary of State. So on Tuesday, as you go to the polls, please remember Michael Watson for Secretary of State. Thank you, and God bless Mississippi.
Things that we were going to talk about, and one of the biggest issues we've talked about so far is moving the Department of Motor Vehicles over from the Department of Public Safety to the Secretary of State's office. So that's a big piece, one of our first initiatives we're going to work on. We're drafting legislation as we speak, getting that ready to present to the legislature. We've got some senators and House members that have already said, look, we want to co-author this, we want to sponsor this, get this moving forward, so we can move that to the Secretary of State's office and make sure that the DMV is providing the best service possible to Mississippians. So that's a big issue. Obviously, elections is an important piece. You'll have an election, primary election in March, so coming right in. So we've got to get ready for that. And then you talk about business services, which is a big piece of the office as well. The Occupational Licensing Review Commission is one of the new pieces on which the Secretary of State sits on that commission. So protecting our small businesses, making sure that we can cut rules and regulations where possible, it's important to us. So a lot of things on the plate we're looking forward to tackling.
All right, welcome. It's good to have you here in the classic Mississippi Coliseum. How do y'all like it? All right, we're doing a great renovation. You'll notice right over here to my left, we've gotten approval to replace all the seats in the Coliseum, and every one of them will be replaced before the Dixie National Rodeo, thanks to our good friends in the legislature. My wife, Leslie, right here, I want y'all to meet her. She is the reason I can keep going. Thank y'all. Welcome her to the Coliseum. It's so good to be here. I appreciate Leslie, our 4 children. We live on our farm in Simpson County, and we are proud to be fighting for the future of Mississippi agriculture. This Coliseum renovation is part of an overall rebirth of the Mississippi Fairgrounds. I am in a process with our director, Steve Hutton, to make the Mississippi Fairgrounds great again. Y'all agree with that? It's about time. That's why we got the program for these new seats. We got $1 million to make some improvements in our equine center. We have completely redone our livestock barns, even saving money, running this place like a business, and reinvesting in our facilities needs for the long haul. It is in this Coliseum that I ride my horse Gunsmoke out and welcome everybody to the largest rodeo east of the Mississippi River. I tell them, welcome to the greatest show on dirt, as I hold my hat up. Y'all welcome to the Coliseum and to the great Mississippi State Fairgrounds. But I want to spend a few moments talking to you about some things related to Mississippi's greatest industry. Agriculture is Mississippi's greatest industry. It has always been. $8 billion farm gate value, 36,000 farms in our state. You add to that another $16.75 billion economic value every year, and Mississippi agriculture is important to the state of Mississippi, to the tune of 1/3 of the people who have a job in Mississippi, 29% of our people who work, 29% are employed in agriculture-related occupations. Let's give our farmers a hand. What do you say? Give them a hand. Keeping agriculture strong. It is not only that, but it is the lifeblood of our small towns, our rural communities like Braxton, where I live. Out from Braxton, that's 3 miles south of Star, where Faith Hill's from. And we have great cattle and timber industry in my part of the state, but we've got everything else. If it's worth growing, we do it better than anybody else right here in Mississippi. Cotton, corn, soybeans, chicken that we're going to eat a little bit, and we are #1 in catfish. We are blessed as a state. Y'all agree with that? We are. I want to mention a few things that we're doing. As a state, we are literally feeding and clothing not only ourselves, but the world. We produce many times over more than we could ever consume as a state, but there is a growing demand for local food and local products, and that's why last year we started the Genuine Mississippi program. I don't know about you, but I'm proud to be from Mississippi. Anybody else? I'm proud to be a Mississippian. genuine Mississippi. You know, people talk about our problems, we have issues, but we're working through those. And to our friends in the rest of this country, they see and know Mississippi is a worldwide leader because of our agriculture and commerce prowess. We're proud of that. And you can go to that website and find anything you want to buy, grown, raised, crafted, and made right here in the Magnolia State. We're doing it. We're not just talking about it. We're doing it. Not just blowing hot air, but getting it done for the people of Mississippi, genuine Mississippi. We've got an international trade program we've been working on, and I'm excited about the results of that. We just got a $2.2 billion deal with Taiwan. We couldn't sell our soybeans to China right now, so we said, bless Pat, let's sell them to Taiwan. Y'all agree with that? And we got it done. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of value for our soybean and corn farmers. We got a deal. The president's been working on a deal with China. He's about to wrap it up, and when he does, the opportunity is going to be tremendous. This should have been done 30 years ago, but in the meanwhile, we've been getting deals with India, and we've got a new trade deal with the U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement. If the Congress would get off of their rear end and get it approved, it's time to get it done. I know all our delegation supports it. The rest of the country should too. And timber deals. Timber is Mississippi's #2 commodity, second only to chicken. By the way, we just shipped the first Mississippi chicken to India, the first that's gone over there in over 25 years, and that's the world's fastest growing population. But we've got timber buyers coming here next month to Mississippi to look at our great timber and forestry inventory and looking at making investment in the great state of Mississippi. And then I've been working on agriculture workforce. Agriculture workforce, it is the most significant issue we have. If you look in that magazine Scott was just talking about, we were proactively involved working with our state workforce investment board. On page 48 and following, you'll find the career opportunities for Mississippi agriculture. The average age of a farmer in this state is nearing retirement age. And if we don't take some proactive steps, we'll be facing a major issue in just a few years with the state of Mississippi's agriculture workforce. That's why this coming legislative session, I served almost 12 years in the legislature. I still have a good many friends over there, and I know that process very well, serving there alongside my colleagues in the House and the Senate. And I'm announcing today that this year, well, this coming 2020 legislative session, we will be sponsoring, we will be finding sponsors, and we will be promoting omnibus bill that is all about the future of Mississippi agriculture, the future of Mississippi agriculture. That includes ag workforce. It includes killing these wild hogs that are overrunning our state. It includes international trade, deals for our farmers, and it includes economic development. Just the other day, we broke ground. We actually cut the ribbon on only the third agriculture chemical manufacturing facility in the country by New Farm, an Australian company in Greenville, Mississippi. They are making their products right there in the great Mississippi Delta. What better place to be? We just broke ground on the world's largest pellet mill in Lucedale, Mississippi. And next week we're going to break ground on the state's first wood export facilities at the Port of Pascagoula. And all of that means agriculture means economic development for the great state of Mississippi. That's a fact. We're going to be including all of these type programs in our proposal, and we want to create an agriculture workforce academy in every single community college in the state of Mississippi. Let's quit talking about it and get it done. Y'all support that with me. I appreciate it. Now I want to wrap up here. Not only are there bright opportunities for Mississippi agriculture, but there are threats. There are real threats. Last year, I stood here and talked to you about the coming fake meat. Who in the world would ever think we were talking about fake meat in 2019? And then our legislature unanimously passed that great bill to, in plain Simpson County English, if it ain't meat, you can't call it meat. Y'all agree with that? We want to know our people are getting real meat, not the counterfeit, fake stuff. So the legislature passed it. I get to enforce it. I got sued by the Veggie Burger Gang in July this past year. And we have been working through that, and as a result, we are going to finalize our regulations. They're going to dismiss their lawsuit. We're going to be enforcing that starting next Thursday, November 7th. but I'm the guy who can lead and fight and win for the future of Mississippi agriculture because I am a trained attorney, a trained advocate, and I got a track record of getting things done and winning for the great people of Mississippi, and I'm going to be winning for Mississippi's greatest industry. I've never understood how a brown cow can eat green grass, make red meat, give white milk, and churn yellow butter. Y'all figure that one out, all right? But the good Lord knows because He designed agriculture. It's important to Him, and it's important we keep it strong. On November the 20th, I'll be convening our final Mississippi Hemp Cultivation Task Force. The United States Department of Agriculture just finalized their rules 2 days ago. 160-something pages of rules on commercial growing of hemp in the state of Mississippi. We'll be making recommendations to our legislature on that. And I want to close by saying I just got a letter when it comes to fake meat. Fake meat, the lab-grown meat industry sent me a letter threatening to sue me. You know what we're going to do? We ain't going to let them sell that blob of stuff, Franken meat, here in the state of Mississippi. If it ain't meat, they can't call it meat, and they don't need to market it that way. I'll be fighting for you in that regard, and we'll just keep them out of this state. And if they come in here, they'll have to call it what it is, Franken meat or some such descriptor. Every farmer knows we get what we sow, what we plant. You plant a corn seed, you're going to get a corn stalk. You plant good seed, you're going to get a good crop. We get more than we sow, more than we plant. It will multiply because God designed it that way. And if we tend the crop and keep on working and keep on promoting Mississippi's greatest industry, we will have a great harvest after we sow. And then we can all join hands together and sing that great old hymn, Bringing in the Sheaves. God bless y'all. I love y'all. Love the state of Mississippi. Mississippi Economic Council. Support Mississippi's greatest industry. Support our farmers. Let's get it done. Quit talking about it. Get her done. God bless y'all. See you later.